Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
In Genesis chapter 48, we read about Joseph taking his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to get his father's final blessings. In those days, it was a custom to get one's father's blessings before he died. But while blessing Joseph, Jacob does three surprising things. First, he tells Joseph that even though his father Isaac blessed him, it was actually God who blessed him at Bethel. Genesis 48 verse 3, Jacob said to Joseph, God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and there he blessed me. So Jacob was conveying to Joseph that it will be God, not him, who will bless him. Secondly, Jacob gave a very special blessing to Joseph. He said, Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, will be considered as the sons of Israel. Centuries later, when Israel inherited Canaan, just like Jacob said, Joseph's two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, were considered as two separate tribes of Israel, along with the other 11 sons of Jacob. Jacob gave this special privilege to Joseph's family not because Joseph asked for such a blessing. It was because Jacob sensed that God wanted to give a special blessing to Joseph. Thirdly, Jacob blessed Ephraim, the second son of Joseph, by placing his right hand on him. Even Joseph protested this. He even tried to forcefully move his father's right hand towards the first son, but Jacob corrected him. In verse 18 and 19, Joseph said to his father, No, my father, this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will become a group of nations. And friends, just as Jacob said, the younger son Ephraim became greater than the older son Manasseh. At one point in Israel's history, we read in the Old Testament that all the 10 tribes of Israel, which were in the northern part, were together called as Ephraim. You see, Jacob knew that blessing is God's choice. God had chosen to bless Ephraim, and he cannot change that. So in the end, Joseph and his sons and also all the family members of Jacob understood that it is God who blesses. He blesses some people like Joseph more than he does others. And sometimes God blesses the younger one more than the older one. Friends, God's ways are strange to us. But God does what he wants. Like Jacob, we too must submit to God's ways. Another saint called Job also found this and submitted to God. In Job chapter 40, verse 1 to 5, the Lord said to Job, Will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Then Job answered the Lord, I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more. That is how Job submitted to God's ways. In Job 42 verse 2, he even said, I know that you can do all things. no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Friends, believers, submit to God's ways even though sometimes they seem very strange.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.